This is the truly iconic 1976 Chevy Corvette Stingray. And I know you want to see me take this out on the road, but first, let's take a look inside. First thing you'll notice is there's not a lot of headroom in here. So my head's touching the roof right here, but if you stay in the middle of these T-tops, you'll be all right. You got to be careful getting in and out though, because it's really tight. If you lean forward a little bit, you can see my head's hitting the mirror. But once you're in, it's actually nice and cozy. It's a good seating position. I actually like the way you can just see over the front hood right here. And those fenders, the view of the fenders from here, it's beautiful. All right, let's go over a little bit of the interior of the car before we take it out for a little spin. First of all, I love this 4-speed right here. The 4-speeds are actually pretty rare in this car. And if you do find one, they're usually way too expensive for you to buy. This is all original. These seats, the interior, the paint, everything is all original on here. This car hasn't been registered since 1983. I was born in 1982. So this registration expired on, let's see here, July 1983. Okay? And this is a 76 Corvette Stingray. So it hasn't been driven on the road since 1983, but it's been very well taken care of. The interior on here is practically like brand new. Anyone that gets this car is going to be very happy with it. This is beautiful. There's a little bit of wear. I mean, it's expected on a car that's this old. It was 76, so how many years is that? 44 years. Yeah, so 44 years. And it was only driven from 76 to 83. That's only 7 years. 7 years it was driven, and then it was parked. Don't ask me why. I don't know. But anyway, we have the climate control here is very unique. I've never seen this style of climate control before. You have these dials next to your shifter. Very conveniently placed, I would say, but I don't know where they came up with this. It looks like radio dials. Pretty cool little feature. And the air works. I tested out the air. The fan works, but it's not a strong fan, so you'll probably end up driving with the windows down anyway. Okay, so you have these little dials to control the air. Pretty cool. Okay, and then this other one is cold and hot temperature, and on the top you have your fan speeds. Right next to that is the ashtray, okay? And this has a cover that slides down. And here is the cigarette lighter. It actually works. So we'll close that up. Now, this manual transmission is beautiful. To shift, you pull up on this with your fingers. Pull up on this lever, and you can shift it right into gear. Right next to you, it has the shift pattern, so you can't screw it up anyway. And below the shifter, they have some bragging rights here with this plaque. It tells you what kind of engine you have. A 350 cubic inch motor, 270 pound-foot of torque. How many cars do you see that stamp the amount of torque right there in the center console? Then it tells you the ratio, 8.5 to 1 for your rear end. But I think it's kind of cool. I mean, people that buy cars like this would be interested to see that. So it has a 350 motor, You have 270 pound-foot of torque and an 8.5 to 1 gear ratio. All right, guys. So, I love how they have all the gauges right here in the center. It looks very cool. So the top left, you have your fuel. Next to that is the water temperature. We have a clock on the bottom left here, oil pressure, and your battery. And it appears the oil pressure gauge is the only one that's not working over here, which you can see it's pegged all the way to the right. So I would guess that means it's not working, since currently the car is not even running. All right, below those gauges you have this radio here, which in 1976 you had AM and FM, and you could change it with this little slider here. That's another unique feature. I've never seen this on another car. I'm sure they use this radio on another car, maybe, I don't know. But this slider is kind of unique. So to turn it on, you have this volume knob on the left. Just turn it. You have this other knob here. I don't know what this does. Maybe if you know what this thing does, put it in the comments. I'm not really sure what that does. This is what you use to tune the station right here. Okay, and then these buttons are your presets. So here's the emergency brake, which is engaged. You just press the button, you can put it down, pull it, and it goes back up. In order to turn the vehicle off, you have to have it in gear. It will not let you take the key out. It won't go all the way to lock if you don't have it in gear. Okay, I'm guessing that was a safety feature. So you have to be in gear in order to take the key out. I always use the emergency brake anyway, just to be safe. So up above the gauge cluster, we have the wipers, and this here is the wiper speed. As you can see, there's two speeds, and if you press the button in, that's your washer fluid. Okay, it tells you right here, push for washer, and it tells you on the left that you have your fan speeds. So there's off, and there's low and high. I really like this pouch here. Instead of a glove box, they have the pouch. When they went to the upgrade, I believe it was 78. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that it was 78. They made it into a hatchback on the back of the car. They did a few other body modifications. The interior is a little bit different. They put a glove box here when they did the 78, and I really like the pouches. I think it looks a lot better. This car does have some storage behind the seats, but up here there's absolutely no storage. You have your emergency brake, your shifter, all your controls and gauges, and this pouch. There's no pouches in the doors, but this it's the perfect size for if you want to put a map in there, or nowadays you could put your cell phone or your wallet in here if you want. But I just like the look of it better than the glove box. It looks more vintage, which is why people like these cars. So that's my thought on it. But over here you have your speedometer on the left, a big speedometer gauge, and on the right, a big RPM gauge. All right, simple, basic steering wheel. You know, very racing stylish. You have a horn. Might need the key in there for that. These vents, these are the vintage style. These are the vintage style vents. These don't open and close like on the newer muscle cars they're making now, the throwback cars. Those you can open and close. These you just can move them around. All right. So you can't close these, but you can point them where you want to have the air facing. Another thing, all the way to the left you have the lights, and these, you pull it out, the lights pop up. If you just pull it out halfway, you'll get your parking lights. Pretty normal on a car like this. Alright, so one other thing I want to show you on the door. If you look at the door here, the lock and unlock switch is very unique. I haven't seen this on any other car before. so that's worth pointing out. There's a lot of unique features, like I mentioned, the climate control, these door locks, the wiper controls. They're all very unique to this car, I think. I haven't seen anything like this on anything else I've driven. And then on the bottom is your hood release. Your hood release is down there. Now to open the hood, you might need two people, but you can do it with one. You just pull this lever right here to release it. And then you're going to pull up right here. It's pretty heavy. And then this will latch in there and hold it up for you. Just like that. All right, so this is the 350 motor right here. Everything's original. So it could be cleaned up a little bit, but that's not a big deal. To close it, you're going to want to push up on this, and then you can close it all the way. That's it. So now that we've taken a look at the interior, why don't we go ahead and take off these T-tops, and we'll take it for a little ride around. All right. So to get the T-tops off, we have a lever right here. You pull this down. We have a lever right here, and there's another one right here. Pull those down and they come up just like that. We can store these in the back. All right, to move the seat forward, there's a button right on the top of the headrest. Push that and the seat comes forward. You can put the T-top in the back. This car had quite a few quirks. One of them was the placement of the gas tank cover. Now, I'm not sure why you would want the gas tank cover all the way in the middle of the back of the car where you have a chance of scratching it or dripping fuel all over the paint. But that's where they put it. And looking around, I really don't see any scratches. No scratches from putting fuel in the tank. Well, as you can see here, it hasn't been registered since 1983. So unfortunately, we can't take it out on the road, but I am going to drive it around the parking lot here and show you how it handles a little bit, okay? Make sure you buckle up for safety. All right, guys, driving the 1976 Corvette Stingray. First thing, this is a manual, so let's turn off the parking brake and put it in first gear. So first gear, you're gonna pull up on this and put it forward. That's reverse, you gotta go over. There, that should be first. So the first thing you notice when you're driving this is you have to let out the clutch quite a bit before it starts to grab. But that's something you'll get used to as you drive it more often. Little bump here. All right, so we can't take it on the road today because, for one thing, these are the original tires on here, so they're about 46 years old, or 54 years old, whatever it is. So we can't get too crazy with it. It's not registered or licensed either, as you can see. It only has the 1983 registration on it still. That means it was only driven from 1976 to 1983, which is 7 years. So they drove this for 7 years, and then it's just been parked since 1983. I can't even believe it. Like, who would not drive this thing? So I'm just driving it around, checking all the gauges here for you. It looks like the fuel gauge is working, the water temperature is going up. That looks good. Our clock, I'm not really sure. It doesn't seem to be ticking. The oil pressure, definitely not working. And the battery looks good. Battery looks like it's working. Give it a little gas. Yeah, that's all we got. We don't have a lot of space here, so let's just park it here for a second. Okay, throw it in neutral. So the headlights do work. I'll put the headlights up so you can see them. There you go. So those work. They go up and down. Almost everything works on this. Okay, like I said, the clock doesn't seem to be ticking, and oh, there we go. Now the clock's working. Okay, so the only thing we have not working right now is the oil pressure. That's not working. But and the speedometer, the owner is actually working on fixing that. Everything else seems to be working pretty good. There's not a lot to go wrong on this since it doesn't have any electronics, but stereo's not working either. Don't really need a stereo. If you want, you can put an aftermarket stereo in here. Okay, let me show you the wipers. There you go. Those go on and off. Well, that's going to be it for today, guys. Unfortunately, we weren't able to take this out on the road, but it's definitely a really nice car. Everything's original. Everything that's important is actually working on it. There's no damage. It looks really good, and it's pretty easy to drive. The clutch is nice and smooth. If you're interested in this car, check the description. I'll put a link for the listing, and you can get a hold of the owner, make them an offer. Also, in the description, check out my Instagram. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, and don't forget, smash the like button, and make sure you subscribe. All right, guys, I'll see you next time when I find another classic car to drive. All right, guys, see ya.